And now for my next number, I'd like to return to the
classic. Time. Hey guys, it's Alex, back again. This time with a brand new haul video. I'm hoping this is going to be the last haul video of the year, or at least before Christmas. I do have a few other videos planned, so this won't be the last video from me, but I do want to get this done and out of the way because you're going to see we've got quite a bit to get through. Yeah, I've been busy. Last couple of weeks have just been crazy. As I've been buying stuff for other people, I've been buying stuff for me as well, so that's been crazy. Record fairs. Well, one record fair, because we have a record fair here in town. Well, not here in town, next town over, the town where I work, every couple of months. So like every other month, bi-monthly, I guess you could call it. And there's one dealer there who always gets loads of soul 12 inches and you know, the kind of soul stuff I like to listen to. And so I always make sure I grab stuff from him, and then I have to talk to some of the regular dealers as well there, and it gets a bit crazy that time of year. But I managed to get some stuff. Obviously, the shop I work in, I get stuff if we have a good week, get a bonus. As Christmas is coming up, we're getting bigger bonuses, so of course I'm going to have more records. But I'm digressing. Let's get on with the finds, or I guess they're technically vinyl grabs, because I think about 95% of my record collection at this point has come out of the shop I work in. But let's just continue on the route of records, kicking things off with this Gang Starr, one of the best yet. You guys know this. I showed this off in my last video, unboxed this in the video. Didn't give a review of the pressing because I hadn't listened to it yet. I've had time to sit and listen to it, and the pressing's really good. I don't have the most high-end sound system, so of course, but it's still good enough to point out a bad pressing. So, but this is nowhere near a bad pressing. This is good. What they put 4 tracks aside, which I love. Instead of having a 16-track album and putting 8 songs each side, they split it up into 2 LPs, which I really like. Obviously, it's not the best Gang Starr album. As far as Gang Starr albums go, there's definitely better albums, but obviously they're old Guru vocals that he recorded when he was working with Solar, and DJ Premier bought those vocal recordings off of Solar. And now that there's albums out, Solar's not too happy that the vocals have been used in a Gang Starr album. And obviously, as he didn't have that many vocals to use, I don't think there's a ton of guest features on this album. So yeah, if you can deal with that, then yeah, then please feel free. But for now, we have the new Gang Starr album. Happy to own that. Huge Gang Starr fan. Right, these next few are all finds from the record fair. Like I said, from my regular soul dealer, I always go to him to grab stuff from my personal collection, because he always has some stuff that I'm looking for, or has stuff I'm not looking for, and I just managed to find it anyway. Kicking it off with the one album I picked up from him, Bee Gees, Children of the World. I like this era of Bee Gees, okay? I'm not afraid to admit it. I did not own this album before. No, it's not a gold stamp promo. It just has the limited edition special price tag up there. This is a good album, okay? This has Should You Be Dancing on it, which was on this album before it was famously on the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. It has You Stepped Into My Life, which was famously covered by Melba Moore. Children of the World, the title track, is on this album. There's a track on here called Subway, which I really like. Yeah, just a crazy, just a good album from start to finish. I like this era of Bee Gees. The late 70s stuff is probably my favorite era of the Bee Gees to grab, and I did not own this album, so super stoked to finally own a copy of that one. Pretty pristine copy as well, I must admit. And the rest of what I grabbed from him are just 12-inch singles. 5 12-inch singles. Nanette, In the Heat of the Night, on Prelude, but it's a white label promo. I don't think I've ever seen any white label promo Prelude stuff. Obviously I've seen white label promos, but never Prelude, because they normally have that red disco floor label. This is a white label. It's nice. Got the vocal mix on one side, the dub on the other. Super stoked to grab this. This is like electro R&B sort of stuff. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. I won't be able to do needle drops because there's just way too much stuff to get through, and this video will stretch to much longer than it already will be. But if you're curious about anything, you've got a search bar up there. So yeah. Anyways, next up, BB&Q Band on the Beat. I have the album with this song on it, but I did not have the 12-inch. It's also got on the flip side Don't Say Goodbye and Lovin's What We Should Do. But I got it for the A-side track on the Beat. A great BB&Q Band song. So yes, had to pick that up. Big fan of BB&Q Band. Love all their stuff. This next one was quite a big surprise that he had it, and especially at quite a low price, because normally his stuff's very reasonable, but he messed up big time here, because this was a steal what I got this for. This is Oliver Cheatham, Get Down Saturday Night, backed with Something About You. This 12-inch in this condition can fetch for about £45. I'm just gonna say I don't normally like to brag about how much I pay for stuff, but £5 for this 12-inch single, I'm happy with that. Especially because not only is it a song that I love and appreciate, and this song was used in Ex Machina, if you ever saw that film. It's a good song, but it's not £45 worth, if you understand what I'm saying. Like, I don't like the song enough to pay that much for it, but I'll pay £5 for it. I would have paid 10 for it, but I have it now in my collection. Finally, after looking for it for such a long time, because of Ex Machina, and Ex Machina I need to go back and rewatch. But yeah, let's continue on. Love Me Like This by Real to Real, another favourite of mine. Also backed with Taking the Long Way Home, but I got it for the A-side because it is one of my favourite songs. It's on Arista, so had to grab that one. And I do believe this is the same Reel to Reel that did I Like to Move It, but I could be very wrong. But yeah, there it is, Reel to Reel, Love Me Like This. Great song. And then this next one, this last 12-inch I got from that dealer, or that record vendor. When I say dealer, it sounds like I'm dealing in drugs, but what can you do? I know them as record dealers. You probably know them as vendors or whatever, but there was this record dealer had one song that was actually on my list that I forgot about, and he's had it there the past few times he's been at this record fair, but haven't picked it up. And it was on my list of songs I needed to pick up. Songs I heard on the radio, or other people have played to me, like, oh, you might like this song. This is High Tension's British Hustle. This is more disco. It's backed with Peace on Earth. This is more disco than soul, but I do love this track, so I had to pick that up, especially with the picture sleeve and original inner as well. It's on Island. I shouldn't have to show you guys the Island label. Yeah, anyway, there it is. British Hustle's, High Tension's British Hustle. So there it is. Right. In the last Vinyl Finds video, I talked about a mint collection. A collection of stuff that came through the shop and everything was mint. Vinyl-wise. The covers may have been a bit rough here and there, and some of them had old price stickers on, but for what it's worth, you couldn't pass up on this collection because it was perfectly mint, and I was able to snag a few more pieces out of the collection, out of that collection for myself. 6 to be exact. 2 of them are 12-inch singles. I don't know how many of you are fans of 12-inch singles, but let's continue on anyway. Jermaine Jackson, Do What You Do, probably the biggest song off that off the album Dynamite, which I think I called it his self-titled album when I showed it earlier on in the year, but that doesn't matter because now I have the 12-inch. Also backed with Tell Me What I'm Not Dreaming, which is his duet with Michael Jackson, and then has a Do What You Do instrumental on the flip as well. Thelma Houston, You Used to Hold Me So Tight, 12-inch. Basically just has 3 different versions of the same track, so no need to go into too much detail there. And those were the 2 12s I picked out. Next for the albums, Luther Vandross, Power of Love. 1991 on this one, so one you don't see all the time, but like I said, not one of his better albums, but still 2 mint to pass up. And yeah, just brilliant stuff. And of course, Power of Love, Love Power is the biggest track on this album, or the only real big track on that off of that album, but could not pass on it because of how nice it was. Next album up, Herb Alpert, Magic Man. Do not dismiss Herb Alpert solo stuff, because without the Tijuana Brass, he's actually decent, some of his solo stuff. This one and Rise in particular are just fantastic stuff. This one is, again, was too nice to pass up, and an album I think has been on my want list for a couple of years at least, but you just don't see solo Herb Alpert stuff all the time. You see a lot of Tijuana Brass, but you don't see a lot of Herb Alpert stuff. So of course I picked this one up. Don't dismiss this era of Herb Alpert stuff, the later stuff. It's actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I do like Herb Alpert, some of Herb Alpert's solo stuff. Not a lot of it, but some of it is decent, so I had to pick that up. Next one up, Christopher Cross, Every Turn of the World. I believe it's his 3rd studio album. I did not know any of the tracks on this album, literally just grabbed it because it's Christopher Cross, and how can you say no to Christopher Cross? Plus the cover's brilliant, especially because outside of like the first album, you don't really see Christopher Cross stuff around a lot, so had to pick that up. I believe it's his 3rd album, but please feel free to correct me if I am wrong. And the final one out of that collection, another one that's been on my wants list for maybe 2 years, maybe a bit more, The Whispers, Just Gets Better With Time. The title track is the big track on this album, even though they did not write the song. Yeah, it's actually a cover version, because an artist called Gary Taylor sang the song first when he was on A&M Records, and after he released that song out as a promo, they dropped him from the record label because they lost faith in him. Fast forward to a few years later, the Whispers heard his version of the song and wanted to cover it, and it's unreal. It's how close it is, how close sounding it is to the original. Although Gary Taylor did produce that track, so of course it's going to sound very similar to the original, but just crazy how it is so close to the original. 1987, the year on this, not the best Whispers album, but did pick it up just for their cover of Just Gets Better With Time, because I don't think I'm ever going to find the original 7-inch single of that song. If I do, happy days, but that is a triple figure 7-inch single, so I doubt I'll ever find it, but this is the next best thing, and that's why I want to cross that off my list. Right, I'm going to end this off with the, well, not end off the video, but kind of wrap up the 12-inch single find. If you're wondering about 7-inch singles, I'll leave them till the end of the video because I know some people aren't interested in them, so I will leave them till the end and kind of breeze through those right at the end of the video. So if you want 7s, stay tuned. Anyway, before I ramble on anymore, I've got, what, 5 more 12-inch singles to show you, so let's go. Makoto, My Soul, drum and bass. I don't pick up a lot of drum and bass, but there are parts of it that I like, especially the John B remix that's on the flip side. Very much chilled drum and bass, and that's the type of stuff that I love. So had to pick up that 12-inch just for that mix. Some more 80s synth soul here. That's Raw Band. Clouds Across the Moon. This is probably the biggest song they ever did, or the most well known. Very nice stuff. Not my favorite Raw Band song, but again, you never see their stuff around anywhere. And they are on RCA. So yeah, had to grab that. Could not pass that up. Nice 12-inch there. Overjoyed by Stevie Wonder. Is it his best song? No, but I didn't have this on a 12-inch. And anything Stevie Wonder, you guys know, if you're a returning viewer to the channel, you already know that I pick up anything Stevie Wonder. So had to grab that. UB40, Red Red Wine. Back with Suffering. Really, we all know this song. The song that kind of, the one song that UB40 made that probably made Neil Diamond a lot of money. Yeah, UB40. Red Red Wine. And The Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News, which I can't tell you how many different formats I have this album on, or this particular song on it. I think it's because Back to the Future might just be my favorite film of all time. And so anything Back to the Future related, I'm going to grab it. And The Power of Love, I think I have 2 copies of the 7-inch single somewhere. I have the Back to the Future album on both vinyl and CD. I think I have the album with this song on it somewhere. I think I've got Huey Lewis and the News Greatest Hits. I've got this now. It's getting ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous how many different formats I have this song on. It's ridiculous. But when Back to the Future is your favorite film of all time, what can you do? Right, moving on to some jazz. Sonny Rollins on Impulse. 80s reissue, unfortunately. Haven't had a chance to listen to this yet, so I can't tell you how good it is or how good the pressing is, but the album itself is decent. I might have actually been better off with a 180 gram reissue of this, but we'll see how it sounds. If it sounds good, I'll keep it, because you guys know me, I'm not too bothered about owning original pressings, but if I can get like an 80s reissue cheaper than a 180 gram reissue, I'll go for the 80s one, even if the 180 gram one sounds better, which it might. I'll have to check, but for now I have this. It's on the Jasmine record label, which is not a great label to have. You guys probably recognize that label. I think I've got a couple of other jazz records on this label. It is an 80s jazz reissue label, but at least I'm adding some more jazz to my collection for now. And if this sounds terrible, I'll probably upgrade to the 180 gram reissue of this, but for now I do have Sonny Rollins on Impulse. Glenn Jones, Take It From Me. This is more 80s R&B. I grabbed this purely because Glenn Jones is actually coming over into the UK in the summer, so I wanted to grab some Glenn Jones before the demand for his albums goes up. Not the best Glenn Jones album. The best one he did is the one with I Am Somebody on it, which obviously was his biggest song, but yeah, Glenn Jones, Take It From Me. Can't go wrong with anything Glenn Jones, really. Probably his weakest album, but still a good one. still a good one for sure. Next up, Teddy P. Heaven Only Knows. Anything Teddy Pendergrass is all good. Anything on that, like I've talked about it before, anything on the Philadelphia International Records label is gonna be good because it's a good label to own. Teddy Pendergrass, Heaven Only Knows. Didn't have a lot of Teddy P in my collection, so I needed to rectify that as quickly as possible. ABBA, the album, Don't Laugh, Do Not Click Off the Video. I did not have this one yet, and it's got Name of the Game, Thank You for the Music, Take a Chance on Me are all on this album. I did not have this one yet, and yeah. Still probably not my favorite ABBA album still, but nice to have the ones with, you know, nice to grab these ABBA albums when they're in mint condition. Quincy Jones, Sounds. Talked about him not too long ago. I very rarely pick up any Quincy Jones stuff anymore. Obviously, I picked up the Dollars soundtrack last time. But this one I wanted to pick up for the song Superwoman, which features my boy Stevie Wonder. Typical, I know, but did not have this one. I'm only picking it up now because this is the nicest conditioned copy I've ever seen. And I don't know if I'll ever find one this clean again, so decided to bite the bullet and grab this one. Yeah, for that reason. Next up is an artist I don't usually pick up, and that's Bob Dylan, the freewheeling Bob Dylan. I think this is an early press. It could be first pressing with the fold over jacket there. Could be first, I'm not too sure. I don't pick up a lot of Bob Dylan stuff, but this one has Blowing in the Wind on it. Not in great condition, unfortunately. It crackles a lot. I mean, the music is still louder than the crackle, which is good. But if you're trying to listen to this album properly, the crackle can get very annoying. So this is going to be a placeholder copy until I can get a better one. And although I'm not a huge fan of Bob Dylan, I'll happily own this album because it's probably the one I like the most just for the song Blowing in the Wind. So there you have it. Bob Dylan, the freewheeling Bob Dylan. Finally have that in my collection. In the summer, going back to the summer of this year, a girl came into the record store and she was from Charleston, South Carolina. She was doing like a tour of Europe and she visited the store, and we've been talking back and forth a little bit on Instagram, and she shared a song off of this album on her Instagram story, and it got me hooked on this album. I've been listening to it a lot digitally, but haven't had the chance to listen to it in full on vinyl yet. But that's ZZ Top, Tres Hombre. The song she introduced me to was Waiting for the Bus, which opens this album up. And yeah, we've been talking back and forth a lot. We have a very similar taste when it comes to liking ZZ Top and Greta Van Fleet and the modern rap music. But this is a good album, okay? Like I said, I haven't been able to listen to it on vinyl yet, but I do like what I've heard of it digitally, so super stoked to have a copy of this and cannot wait to give it a listen. So I can only say a thank you to my friend in South Carolina for putting me onto this album. I know she's probably not watching this video or seeing this video or ever going to see this video, but if she does, thank you. Alright, we don't have that many more to go, a couple more. And while I'm on the I should have really talked about this while I was on the topic of Quincy Jones, but I didn't. But that's the Brothers Johnson with Blam. We Ain't Funkin' Now, Blam, and It's Your Girl are probably the three big songs off of this album. Good Brothers Johnson album. Actually, I don't know if Brothers Johnson do have a bad album, but this is a good one. on A&M, as produced by Quincy Jones, as the rest of all their stuff is as well. Very, very good stuff. Very good stuff. Did not own this one yet. Been looking for a nice clean copy. Finally found one. So there it is. Blam by the Brothers Johnson. Finally in the collection. And the final album I'm going to show is one that, much like the Herb Alpert from earlier and the other album, I can't even remember it now, and I'm the one who's been looking for it. Oh yeah, and the Whispers in the Herb Alpert. This one's also been on my watch list a while, and it's just because of one person, and that person is called Rakim, and he is more famously known for the hip hop duo Eric B and Rakim. When he went solo, he sampled a song on this album. It's probably the only song I like from his solo career. But because of that song, I'd been looking for a copy of this album for a while. That's hands down by Bob James. It could be his 5th album. I know the first 4 albums by Bob James are really good. There's some iffy ones in the middle, but this one's really good, especially for the song Shamboozey, which is the song that that Rakim sampled. If you're a hip-hop fan, you can tell me what track he sampled Shamboozey on. Because I'm not going to tell you. Because I'm mean like that. Yeah, if you're a hip-hop fan and you like Rakim's solo career, give it a listen. Shamboozey a listen and tell me if you can figure out where the sample's from. This is not from that mint collection. But this is still on the, this is on CBS, that blue CBS label that I think a lot of his later stuff was on. Needs a little bit of a clean, but other than that, decent sound, decent copy. I'll do all that stuff later. Sorry if you can hear noises in the background, my family's sort of messing around. But as promised, I'm going to end with the 7-inch singles. I haven't picked up too many 7s as of late because I just haven't been picking them up. But these ones, I picked them up. I might have some of these already, but they were just too good to pass up. So first one is Winston Reddy and Sky Crew with Superstar. Features Soul to Soul and Karen Wheeler. As well as on the flip side, as well, PMT, which features Soul to Soul, but it's also Sky Crew. Nice to pick that up because you don't really see these 7-inch singles around a lot, so picked that one up. Chic, We Are Family, probably did have this one already, but decided to grab it again anyway, and it's backed with Easier to Love, which is nice. Just in case I do own it already. Which I might. I don't even know anymore. I lose track of even what I have. Peter Gabriel, Sledgehammer. Backed with Don't Break This Rhythm. Need a nice sleeve for it, but other than that, pretty clean copy of the record there. Eruption, I Can't Stand the Rain. Backed with Be Yourself. Chairman of the Board, Paid to the Piper. Don't normally pick up Chairman of the Board stuff, so this is different. And When Will She Tell Me She Needs Me is on the flip side of that one. Next up is Chairman of the Board, working on the Building of Love, backed with Try On My Love for Size. Like I said, don't pick up their stuff a lot, but too good to pass up. Stevie Wonder, Don't You Worry About a Thing, which I didn't have on a 7-inch yet, and Do Yourself a Favor, which I do have. The only problem is this has a crack in it. My record player plays straight through the crack. I don't want to risk it. So this is just a placeholder until I can get a nicer one. Can, I Want More, backed with More. You never see any Can stuff, so it's nice to find a 7-inch single, particularly as that's my first piece of Can on vinyl. George Benson, In Your Eyes, back to Being With You. One of these two is an instrumental piece. I don't remember which one though. I probably should, being a big George Benson fan, but really it's been a couple of days since I've listened to this one, so I don't really remember. But I didn't have this George Benson single anyway, so nice to pick that up. Gladys Knight and the Pips, Midnight Train to Georgia, backed with To Be Invincible. Do like Gladys Knight and the Pips, just don't pick the stuff up that often. Kiss, Rocket Ride, backed with a live version of Love Gun, but still happy I own this because Love Gun is a good song by Kiss and I don't own the album, so that's the next best thing. Shy Lights, What Do I Wish For, backed with We Are Neighbours. What Do I Wish For being the better song, the one I picked it up for. The Monkees, I'm a Believer, backed with I'm Not Your Stepping Stone, but I picked it up for I'm a Believer because I do really like that song. Probably the only Monkees song I actually know. And finally, Osibisa, Who's Got the Paper, backed with Rokoto. And Rokoto is the song I picked it up for because it's actually the better song of the two. So there we have it, guys. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for going through this long video with me. Wow, 30 minutes and yeah. Wow. Sorry if I edit at any point. There were noises in the background and kind of had to pause what I was doing. And don't really want to refilm this video. So yeah. Anyway, with that said, thanks for bearing with me. If you're new here, please subscribe. And I haven't heard from the winner of my 200 subscriber contest. And if I don't hear from the winner of my 200 subscriber contest before Christmas, I will pick a new winner. Because it's not fair on everybody else to miss out and for you not to. I don't want to, but you know, it's just not fair for everybody else to miss out while one person delays getting in touch. If they can't, if they can't, that's fine. I can always pick a new winner. But for now, just so you know, if you are the winner of my 200 subscriber contest, please try and get in touch with me if you can. And with that said and done, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks again so much, guys. Peace.